Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Logic Apps Live for September 2023. I have here with me Alex Zúñiga, Parth, Shah, and Danielle Cogburn. So we are all from the Logic Apps team, and we have some interesting things to show on for you today. So Alex, do you want to go to the agenda to see what we're going to be talking about? Awesome. So in the agenda today, we're going to highlight and we're trying to make this now every month. We're going to highlight our Ace Aviator of the month. It's like one of some people from our team is being looking for in the community for people that is helping and producing content and sharing content regularly, and we're trying to highlight that on the show. So Alex is going to be talking a little bit about that. Then Kent, that is not here but was missing the show, put together a little video with saying hi and with some updates on custom code. Danielle and Alex is going to have a chat about the new custom functions feature on the data mapper. And Parth is going to be showing something that is super exciting, run from action demo. So with that, I'll pass it on to Alex, and so she can continue.
All right. Thanks, everyone. So happy to be here. And yeah, so like Wagner said, we just recently started doing some Ace Aviators a couple months back. So we decided to start showcasing them in our monthly shows as well. So for those of you that, like Wagner said, don't know, Ace Aviators are showcased in our monthly newsletter. And they're selected based on their work and commitment to the Logic Apps Aviators community. So we kind of are scouting out. And this past month, for the beginning of September, we picked Sandro Pereira. So, for those of you who don't know Sandro, he's considered the head of enterprise integration at DevScope, and he focuses on a variety of responsibilities like performing pre sales, researching, and understanding our future in integration technology. And while all this started as a hobby for Sandro, he is now a well known technician and delivers sessions worldwide, hoping to give back to communities like Aviators and closing the documentation gap. So we went and asked Sandro a couple questions, and here's a couple of highlights from the questions we asked him. One of them was what advice he wished he had been told earlier on. And while he doesn't like looking back on the past, he told us that something he wished someone had told him earlier on was to create a good professional network sooner. And then another one that we asked him was what feature he would create in Logic Apps if we handed him a magic wand. And he was like, that's easy. I would want a single and good unified developer experience. So that was a good one. And lastly, just a quote to pull. And like I said, Sam's kind of main message is find something you truly love to do. So if you want to read more about Sandro and all of his great responses from our questions and get to know him, go to our newsletter at https at the top of there, aka.ms/Logic Apps Aviators/September 23. All right. And with that, I will pass that back on to Kent, unfortunately, who's not here. And so we've got a little message from him, a video set up. And from there, we'll play that. Oh.
Alex, I think you have to share it again with sound.
Oh, okay, cool. Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a fun one.
So let's try again.
No worries, no worries. Oh my gosh, I cannot see the, let's see here.
And when you go to the share screen, I think there's is also shared tab audio. If you leave it on, it should work.
Hilarious. Alrighty, we'll do. We always love a good technical difficulty. Let's see here. Why can I not find it? All right. Oh, it's telling me that it cannot access my screen. It's very unfortunate. All right, try one more thing. All right. Okay. Hopefully this one is better. All right, do we have sound now? All right, I think PowerPoint should be up now. Can you verify that we've got sound, Wagner?
I can, and perfect timing because I just came back for the stream. I actually dropped for a minute.
Ah, gotcha. No worries.
No pressure with live.
Always some fun times. All right, hopefully this one will work.
Go for it.
Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, I can't join you today live as I'm out of the office on vacation, but I did want to give you an update on our support for .NET Framework custom code and show you one of the things that we've been working on recently. So we'll go ahead and we'll see a demo of that. And also just wanted to let you know that the general availability of this feature is soon. I can't give you a specific date, but it's not too far away, and we're really excited about it. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at a new capability found in .NET Framework custom code. So what I wanted to do was to give you an early preview of a capability that we are currently working on for the GA of custom code in Logic App Standard. And that is support for application insights so that you can go ahead and instrument your custom code with custom logging. And obviously, when you deploy that to Azure, it all lands in the right place inside of App Insights. So I'm just going to walk you through the experience here. Now, there's not a lot that has changed, but for those of you who may not have seen this before, let's take a closer look. So I'm going to select a folder for my workspace, and now I need to provide a workspace name. You can kind of think of a workspace much like a Visual Studio solution. So this is going to allow us to co-locate our workflow project and our custom code project. So we're just going to give this a name of Aviator's demo. Now this is a new piece, right? So we're going to give you the option when using a workspace to select just a Logic app or a Logic app with custom code. You will see that we're going to be leveraging workspaces more in the future, and as a result, giving you more options when creating your workspace. Here, we're going to need to provide a function name, much like we had to before. We're just going to call this get weather. It really doesn't matter. And then provide a namespace. And we will include a workflow as part of this. And we'll just go ahead and use the defaults and open it in the current window. All right, so that's now loaded. We've got our workspace, we've got our functions project, we've got our Logic app project as well. If we open up our sample get weather CS file, we're going to see some additional methods here. And this is basically supporting iLogger, and we're going to go ahead and be able to use it within our code and create custom instrumentation calls. So this is going to follow very much the same path, the same sort of sample that Azure Functions provides for you. So you can think of this functionality to be quite similar in that regard. So we've got some sort of squiggly lines here. This means we need to go ahead and build our code. So let's go ahead and do that by creating a new terminal, setting our functions project as in scope. We're just going to do a .NET restore. Make sure we've got all of the packages that we need included here. And then what we can do is issue a .NET build. We can also go ahead and do a run build task as well, or terminal run build task, but just using the command line interface. Okay, so at this point, what has happened is we have bin placed all of the required assemblies inside our lib folder, and then custom, and then we've got get weather and the net 472. So these are all of those prerequisites that we need to be able to take care of. Now, if we head over to our Logic app and open it up in the designer, we are going to see our custom code action here. If we go ahead and click on the action, we're going to see the function name. As you may recall, when we went through that wizard, we provided the name of the function. So we go ahead and seed that for you. You can go ahead and include multiple functions within the same project itself. So you can just kind of like copy and paste this code and modify the attribute here, and then that will show up in the drop down, which is quite interesting. We'll naturally go ahead and take care of all of the inputs and outputs properties. So that's all dynamic. And how we do that is during compilation time, when we go ahead and bin place all of those assemblies, we'll create a metadata file here called function.json that includes all of the input and output parameters. So that is pretty slick. So now we're ready to go ahead and debug this. But before we do that, let's set some breakpoints. So let's go into our workflow definition. We'll just go ahead and set a breakpoint before we call our code function. Then let's head over into our code itself, and let's set a breakpoint there. All right, now in order to run the debuggers naturally, we need to start Azure right. So let's go ahead and do that for all three services. So we've got all of that running. Now to set up the debugger, come over to this experience here, the bug with the play button. Go ahead, attach to the Logic app first. Okay, when we see these this on our screen, we know we're in good shape. So that's basically our workflow action trigger getting loaded, and we've got our endpoint loaded as well. Next up, let's go ahead, let's attach to our .NET functions runtime. So let's go ahead and do that. And we can see here when we got the two that both are set up, and we can also see it loaded down here below. Now to go ahead and call this particular workflow, the easiest way to do that is to open up the overview page for the workflow itself. When you see the endpoint located here, and then you've got the run trigger button enabled, you know you're in good shape. So let's go ahead and click the run trigger. Now we're going to hit the first breakpoint, which is in our workflow project. Notice we've got all of the local information available to us here as well. And we can take advantage of like the standard commands, right? Where you can go ahead and step over, step into, and you can use either the keyboard or this menu itself. So let's just go ahead and hit F5 to continue. Now we're going to be in our custom code. Same idea. We can see all of the local variables that show up here. Now let's just go ahead and hit an F10 to go to our next step. And what's now interesting is we can see our log point in our terminal. So if we flip over to the terminal tab, and we can now see the log point. So as you're running your code, you can now take advantage of this information being made available to you. Let's just go ahead and just complete the process here. We'll hit F5. And if we head back to our overview, we're going to see that we've got a new run that has completed. We can go ahead and click on it and then naturally explore basically our dynamic content, all of our inputs and output. All right, so I did mention that this logging goes beyond just like the local experience. There's also what does this look like inside of Azure once you deploy it to Azure and want to check it out in Application Insights. So here I've done something a little bit different. I've added a different log statement, just indicating that you've passed in a particular zip code value. And then what I also do after the fact is just have a log point indicating that this is the result of that particular value. Now, if we flip over, if we deploy this code to Azure, which I'm not going to do in the interest of time, and then run it, what can we expect to go see inside of Azure? So I'm now in application insights, and I've basically filtered my results based upon a specific execution, right? So I'm just going to look for all events in my traces table related to this execution. If we start off at the bottom, we can see we've got information about the workflow starting, our trigger starting and ending. Then we've got our workflow action. This is going to be where we call our local function. We've got some additional trace statements about just like the workflow dispatcher and executing the function. And then here, this is where we see those custom log points that I showed you in the code. So you've passed in this particular zip code, and this is the current weather for it. Then we can see that we've completed our custom call and we've completed our action. And then basically we're going to respond, use the response action, and then end our workflow. So this is capabilities that allows you to see end to end exactly what's happened throughout your workflow, the standard stuff, plus custom functions and custom code, and really being able to string it all together in a unified manner. So hopefully this is interesting for you. Stay tuned. We will be announcing the GA of this capability shortly. So pay attention to our blog, pay attention to the Aviator's newsletter, and looking forward to some feedback.
That was our message from Kent. I'm going to go ahead and reshare on the different part here. But yeah, so unfortunately I wasn't able to be here, but that was from Ken. So that was our custom code. And next, we're going to pull Danielle up so that we can ask her some questions about some data mapper. All right. Danielle, it's so lovely to have you here. I have the fortune of being able to work with Danielle. So why don't you go ahead and give us a little intro about yourself, since I know you.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay, Alex? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do we have audio? Okay, good. I'm Danielle. Let's see. I've been at Microsoft for a little over 5 years, really a little over a year and a half in Logic Apps, and maybe the past year really focusing a lot on Data Mapper. So that's what I've been up to recently. I live in Seattle, but I'm originally from Austin, and all that. So yeah, that's me. Also,
Totally.
I guess specifically, I work on the front end. So
Awesome.
A lot of the stuff that I'll be talking about is front end specific.
Definitely. Well, you stole my next question away, which was how long you've been working on Data Mapper and what you focus on. So there you go. Look at gold star to you on that one. But yeah, all right. So for today's demo, what are you going to be showing us? I don't know if it's me or if it's.
Or
is Danielle
Danielle frozen exactly the time that she's going to be doing the demo?
Oh, we have some great technical difficulties today. This is what a joy.
Yeah, because I tried to share her computer, and this is down, and she is off. Now seems like she's back. Let me add.
We have Danielle again.
Are we good?
There we go.
We're good.
Today,
okay. Nice. That's so much better.
Today it is a live show. As Michael Sands is saying, today is a great day. You're Danielle.
That's fine. All right, well, we're good. Okay. So, okay. Alex, did you want to
go ahead and give us a little chat about what you're going to be showing us with today's demo?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I guess this session is all about customizing. So my feature is also about kind of putting custom code and ways to extend the functionality in ways that we don't quite support yet. So yeah, that's like a high overview of what we're trying to do. So if you've used Data Mapper before, you know that basically everything, all the transformations come from functions that we have that you can pre-select and input data into. But I guess inevitably with that, our developers are in charge of creating those functions, and there are going to be gaps. So in an effort to kind of prevent people from having blocking scenarios, we thought of 3 different ways that you can add in your own code into Data Mapper, to fill in any gaps for functions that we don't support yet. So that's kind of the background idea of it. Yeah. Okay, let me get on with it. Okay, so I'm just going to start from the very beginning for any of you that aren't familiar with Data Mapper yet. So right now we exist in VS Code, so we'll start off there. I'm going to create a new data map, start from scratch, and we'll call it, I don't know, custom demo. Okay, let's load her up. Okay, so we're going to select 2 schemas, and I kind of chose some simpler scenarios here just so that we don't get too into the weeds on all the things that we can do, and we'll really just be talking about, customization. Okay, so we've got our source, and then we've got our target schema here. Maybe now would be a good time for me to show kind of the project structure. So in these folders, all the stuff that I have related to Data Mapper. Here's the schemas that I just loaded from. And then we can kind of get into all the other stuff that exists here in a second. Okay, so I said that there were 3 ways that we have to customize. I guess the first one I'll start off with is custom functions. So let's first add something from our source schema. I think we're going to start with date of birth, and we can see that the type is a date. And then we'll add a function to convert this to someone's age right there. So right here, we've got our custom functions underneath here. We'll add the age function. And what's cool about this feature is that while this is custom and it is your code, I like the way that we design things to just kind of fit within the existing ideas of Data Mapper. So really this is custom, but it's just another function, and it works the same as any other function. If you're familiar with Data Mapper, it connects the same way, same kind of validation. And then, we just connect it to the output. Okay, so there we go. So that's what it looks like on the map side. And then this is how, if you want to create a custom function, this is how you create it. So these are loaded from this path right here, Data Mapper extensions functions, and you have your own XML custom written right here. And this is the function that I selected. So here we've got like the display name, all the configuration, except the date. And then this is kind of the custom piece that you've written. So we've got all of these nested functions, a little bit of complicated logic in here. So that's the transformation that's going to happen. So I guess there's two things that I want to highlight here. One I kind of already hit on, which is that if, say, okay, we've got our list of functions here, we're constantly adding to them, but if there's something that you need that's missing here, you can always add the custom XSLT. And then the other thing too is, say that you have a large map and you need to calculate at age 10 different times. You won't have to go through and write this all out, creating kind of a chain of functions. So you've just got one here, and the transformation is the same every time. Yeah, so I know it's a really simple scenario, but we can go ahead and look at the code. Like I said, just like any other function, the name is age, and then we have our input here. So super simple, but let's go ahead and generate it. And that generates the XSLT, and then we can test. All right, so let's find, here's my simple little test input that matches the source schema. Oh, Okay, why is paste not working? All right, there we go. So we can go ahead and click test on this. And then from the date of birth, from Sandro's date of birth, not sure if that's real or not, but he's 45 and a half. Happy birthday. Yeah, so. Yeah, so that's how we test it. And let's move on to the next one. All right, so let's see, which one did I have next? I think let's do some XPath. So let me go ahead and connect this. So far, most of the stuff that I've been demoing is more back-end work. And I think that's just kind of the nature of the feature, that we wanted it to kind of be just like plug in, so that it's not like we're introducing any drastic new concepts. But one thing that's different is that we have, for the next two functions, different kinds of input. So this is more like a free-form text box, and there's no real reason why you would, or at least that we could think of, why you would need to have an input that is coming from the schema. So this is all custom, whatever you write yourself. So let's see. This isn't the most complicated example. Again, we're going for simple, but basically if I wanted to just map address to, what did I connect it to? Full name over here. That's just directly writing XPath. And we kind of imagine this being a copy paste scenario. So if you have another mapping that you're trying to work with, or something where you don't want to draw all of the connections, you want something simple, you can just copy and paste it here. And eventually I think we'll add more syntax highlighting. And I think that's one thing that I'm excited about, is really getting a more rich experience from inputs, but that comes next. So this is what we've got right now. So we go ahead and generate it. We can test it. And then, okay, very unrealistic mapping, but we've got addresses mapped to full name. So if your name is Porto, Portugal, that's great. Okay, and then the last custom function that we have is inline XSLT. And this is another one that is reusable. So let me just go ahead and get us started on it. Okay, so this is kind of the same way, where the input doesn't come from the source schema. We're directly selecting the input from this dropdown. It's similar to the way that if we wanted to, edit our schema, I'll do it. But same kind of thing, where we're looking in the file system to find the files. So we got two here. It's just a little sample one. And so here we go. We'll connect this to zip code. Okay, so our map generated, or I guess our YAML generated, and here's our little output of our inline XSLT. And then the same thing with the functions. There's a special place where we look for all of these files. So yeah, we get it from right there. And then this, again, it's not the most meaningful example, but you have your custom XSLT that you can write right here that matches with the source. Yeah. We'll go ahead and generate and test it. And then you have your output here that's based off of the XML or XSLT that I just added. Yeah, so those are the three ways that we've added to add customization. I'm really excited about it. I think that there's a lot of potential with this feature. I know it's kind of bare bones right now, but I think it has the potential to be really cool, and for us to add a lot of cool stuff to it. I would, for example, I would love to be able to generate a custom function based off of, say that you had 20 functions in the middle here, just being able to select all of that and generate a custom function based off of that. We want to have a custom function wizard so that you can go through, select your file, you can change the image on the for the icon name and all of that. And the output will be the same. It'll be here in functions, but instead of having to create this on your own, we can kind of walk you through that process. So that'll be cool. I think with us changing the different inputs here, I think that kind of starts us in a way to where we can add a little bit more help to the user for different typings, whether it's like strings, numbers, or in this case, like the file path. So I think that'll be really helpful. Yeah, I think this will hopefully unblock a lot of users in the future. And then hopefully, at least from what I've noticed, it's a lot faster to create data maps. So,
I'm curious, Danielle, why, thank you so much for the demo, by the way, but why should you think our characters, our users should care about custom functions?
Yeah, I think one is the, like I said, like being able to create things faster. So if you're using age 20 different times, nobody wants to go out and do that kind of labor intensive work. Yeah, and then the other thing too is that we encourage you to use all of the functions that we have here, and we're covering more and more scenarios. But if there's something that you're blocked on, and I think I could write it faster myself. Yeah, I think that's really important. So.
Totally.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Is having something that allow you to extend always going to make a developer's life easier, because we never going to get all the scenarios for more than we want. And as you're saying, sometimes our scenarios, because we have to create building blocks, is orchestrating 5 of those items, which for people that is work with Beanstalk before, let me just introduce someone that worked with Beanstalk a lot as well before. Harold.
I have worked with Beanstalk as well.
Exactly. I know that. And with someone that have worked with Beanstalk, we know how messy those maps can be. Being able to create those things and simplify, it's always a good one. A feedback that we just get from Mark Brimble here from New Zealand. Hey, Mark, it seems like looks good. This is the first time that I have seen the data mapper. And Mark is a very experienced Beanstalk user. So I know that if he's giving a thumbs up for that, we go in the right direction. And I have one question for you, Danielle, before we go to Parth. Is Mike was asking, what is the code that defined that function? Was what was the language? Was it XSLT?
Yeah, let me get in there to show you. Yeah, so the file is an XML file, and then the custom code is XSLT right here. And then we're using XML to kind of describe the metadata of the function, so the types and the name and all of that. And then this is XSLT.
Cool. So it's all XSLT 3, right?
Yes.
And XPath 3.1. Yeah. So I think that one is answered. The other question that we had, well, not a question, but just a comment, and Harold and I probably going to take a laugh out of that. If only those functions were called functoids. we say that we actually try not to, right? Because then it would be like too tight just with Beanstalk. And the idea is that although one of the first, probably first uses this is modernizing Beanstalk applications, but the idea of the data mapper is like a much bigger evolution that it was, is any to any, and be able to simplify that.
Yeah.
Mike says, thank you. Harold, I know that you were in the live and was saying hello from there, so I bring you just to say hello from here before we go to the next one.
Absolutely. No, thank you. And you know what? You guys keep doing the great job. I love this community. Okay.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining for the even for a little bit, man.
Yeah.
And
take care.
Alex, back to you.
Thanks. All right. Well, Danielle, thank you so much for the chat. We'll pull you back on us at the end for some questions if we get some more.
I have 2 last points, and I promise that they're quick ones.
Yes,
one
go
is
for
that
it.
this is not live yet, I believe it will be released in our next bundle. And then, so yeah, if you want to play around with it, it's not live yet, but it will be soon.
Yeah.
And the next thing is that if you have any questions or comments or ideas, I feel like with this feature, there are so many different directions that we could take it. Log
Totally.
all of that on our GitHub. Any issues that you see, we're always looking through there and always open to more ideas. So yeah. So give me
Definitely.
feedback. We want it.
For sure. Thank you, Danielle. All right. So next up, we've got Parth giving us a little bit of a demo here. It's a little screen cap from our demo with Danielle. But all right, a run from action demo from Parth. Go ahead and take it away, man.
Amazing GIF. That's some cool stuff. But hey everyone, good to be back. Today I just wanted to touch base on one of the features that we're releasing soon for public preview. It's resume from action or run from action. So as many of you know, we have the capability today to, let's say, select any run and then resubmit it. This essentially would resubmit the entire run. I mean, the use case was pretty common, right? Like if my run is failed or it's skipped or timed out, like let me just go ahead and resubmit to see if I can reprocess the integration flow. So now what we're doing with it is we're going to bring in the ability to resume from any action. In future, we also want to hear from you, like what you want from this additionally. But here I have a stateful logic app. So mind that this is only in stateful. It does not work in stateless workflows at all, right? And this will be going live next week. So you all will be able to try it out in the new designer. And yeah, I think I have a workflow here. Let me just start with that first. So it's just a simple order processing workflow, which will, process the message according to the amount, and to send the message to one of the queues accordingly as we want, right? So what I'm going to do is run this first. And as you can see, I've actually disabled the queue. So expected would be to, the try catch exception block, at least a try block to fail. So I'm going to use the run with payload feature that we have here. So you don't need to use Postman, right? So that's something that we released a few months back. And I will just say, let's say amount is less than 100,000 because that was my condition to route it to the smaller queue. And I'm going to put some random order number 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. The expected result would be that the order will not be processed and will not get a confirmation number, obviously. But the thing will still run. The workflow will still run because we have actually caught this message and sent it to a dead letter queue. As you can see, the try block has failed. All of it has failed. And then we have the run after configured. So catch was executed and it dead lettered because we want to see the message. And finally, we compose the outputs. Great. Now, if I want to resubmit this workflow after solving my problem, which is in this case, let's say reactivating the queue, what I would do is I will have to go and resubmit the run from that panel. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to resubmit it from, in fact, the try block itself, so that the payload that I've passed and all the previous actions that have been there, the outputs from there will not go to waste and will be reprocessed for that run itself. Let me show you how. First, let me reactivate this queue. I'm going to activate it really quick. Give it a minute because it takes a second to reflect. And then, yes, let's reprocess. I am going to submit from this action again. And ideally, the condition should execute. So let's give it a second. We should be seeing something soon. Let me see if I can refresh. There we go. So as you can see, we have started executing from these actions onwards. The previous actions, you have this opaque green check mark. So this action is not executed but the outputs from these actions have been used. Outputs from the triggers have been used. So the process and the confirmation variable have been already, initialized. No need to reprocess that. And it will run with the payload that you specified, right? And it will send the message accordingly. And yeah, I think the workflow should run. So previously, you would rather have to go and run it again or resubmit it. So we basically wanted to eliminate that whole, gap in the middle. And yeah, so I would love for you guys to check it out, see if you give some feedback next week. Right now I'm trying it in private deployment. So yeah, it should be live in the new designer, as I said, not in the old consumption designer. Just wanted to let you know. So yeah, that's all I have had, and thank you for listening.
What do you mean, just what I had? That's awesome, man.
I think one more thing I'd like to add is see, we're planning for a couple of features after this too. One is, let's say, if you want to run with payload. So in this case, when you saw my workflow, if you wanted to, let's say, even pass some payload when you're resubmitting, right? Is there some need for that? Something we've heard, these indicators, we want to hear from you if that's something that you've heard and you will feel like when you try this out too. And another indication was, to maybe select a few actions and then only resubmit those blocks, and not have, start from one point onwards and execute the whole flow, but only select a few blocks of it. But would love to hear if that's a use case that you would like to see or not.
Cool. And any probably would be the first question that people would have here. Any ideas and when we planning to push that in public preview?
So this public preview should be live next week with the current functionality. For GA, we are planning to maybe do it late this year after Ignite. If we hear enough feedback from you, and if you want to even see the additional features in this particular work stream, so we'll definitely prioritize and add these before we GA.
Okay, so keep an eye peeled on your regions, because that is going to be hitting portal sometime next week, right?
Exactly. Basically, it should be early next week, but even end of next week, I would knowing how many the regions we have to hit, it would be it can take the whole week. Yeah.
And one point here from Taha, that would be good for transient issues once in a while when debugging early on. So yeah, and I think it's even for production, that's a really good thing, because in your sample, most of the items before that didn't interact with external systems.
No,
but But one problem that I always had when I was running those things in production was exactly I already hit that system. If I hit it again, it's going to generate another record there, and I don't want that. That works successfully. So running from the point of failure and guarantee that everything else is idempotent, it didn't change, is a really good.
Exactly. Thank you, Wagner. Yeah, it's not going to create any duplicates. That's the opaque green check mark for that only, that hey, we've used the outputs, but it's not going to reflect that hey, this action has been re-executed in your logs or anything and duplicated. So yeah, especially really for external systems.
Cool. So just looking at I think we are pretty much on time, and this is the list of things that we have for today. We have one question from Sujit that is related to the things that we change, that we showed here around any chance for Logic Apps Manage API to refer credentials from Key Vault directly. I think is that we don't have that on our backlog right now, but feel free to send that as feedback, Sujit, and we can evaluate whether to the backlog. Then we have a question from Soren. Great updates. Any progress update you can share on the integration space feature and business active monitoring, or whatever the naming was? So we continue working on that one, and you're probably going to hear more about that closer to Ignite, Soren. We are finishing some of the stuff, doing some refinements, but we should be talking about that either on the October or the November community call. So keep an eye on that and keep joining. Thanks for joining. Don't think there is any other questions in here, so I think that's us for today. Thank you all for joining. Thanks, Parth. Thanks, Alex, and thanks, Danielle.
Wait, Wagner, it seems like there's a question.
Yeah, I think we got one more.
Mike got us on the nick of time, so let's see. When creating a new consumption logic apps today, I was given the option to select an environment. Is this possible to run consumption on LA standard environments? That environment that you saw there, Mike, was an IEC environment, right? So integration service environment that is being deprecated. So you're not going to be when you're running Logic Apps consumption, is going to be running on your region with our engine. If you wanted to run inside the Logic Apps standard, you have to create that inside Logic Apps standard. Okay. Seems like he didn't like the idea of the ICE being deprecated, but that's fine.
And there's another one from Soren, I think. Is that?
Yeah. So he's saying that you saw that. I think there is a UI glitch, was not on IEC. So in this case, we take a look at that one. I'll double check that to see what it is. And if you guys join next month, we can have the answer for that one. Cool.
And I think one follow-up question I had for I think Sujit was are you referring to passing dynamic credentials such as API keys from Key Vault?
I think that's the question that he had, right?
So for Logic App connectors to support dynamic credentials such as API keys, right? So in this case, we had a customer that was trying to use a key retrieved from Key Vault to populate the connector API key at runtime. And that's something that we are actually committed to doing, that feature. But I don't know if that's what Sujit is.
Okay. So there we go. Seems like it's at if that's the case, we're going to investigate that one as well and try to come back with an answer next month.
Yeah, I love it. Sounds
cool. Give you one more chance for a question, since we still have 10 minutes to go, and then otherwise I'm going to close for today. Going once, going twice. Okay. So see you all next month, and thanks again, Danielle, for joining us. Really nice demo. See you, everyone.
Thank you. See you.